Hey guys.
Hi.
Episode 6.
Yay!
We're cutting this one in before our one that was originally supposed to be episode 6.
Yeah.
Because we want to comment on Sepia Gate.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's
apparently.
So entertaining. But we're going to watch it.
We're going to watch it and react. And we may or may not agree / may or may not have input.
We're going to have fucking input.
We'll definitely have input. But we'll see what it is. I've only watched part of it, so we'll see. Wait, do you want to say anything else? That's going to be like the shortest intro ever.
That's fine.
It's okay. It's fine.
We're great.
Cheers.
Cheers. We're at Starbucks. It exploded. I can't talk today anyway, so we're just going to watch it. Let's just watch it.
All right. Let me know if you think this sounds stupid.
Let's show you the first part.
Welcome to Between Two Lenses. I'm Kale Vox.
And I'm Alex Zach.
Together we're here to explore the world of photography and creating through a different lens, a more honest lens and from a less technical perspective.
As two female photographers, we navigate a unique journey filled with challenges, triumphs, and joys of creating art through our lenses.
We'll be talking about our work, reacting to yours, exploring the impact of beauty standards in our field, and what it's like being a woman in this industry.
So whether you're a seasoned photographer, a beginner, or just someone who appreciates honest chat, we hope to inspire you to see the world in a new light and maybe make you laugh a little.
As Reinhardt said, art is too serious to be taken seriously. This is Between Two Lenses. Let's get into it.
Imagine paying almost $8,000 for a wedding photographer, and when you raised your concerns, they threatened to sue you for slander if you spoke your truth. So let's get into a little story time. So I found my wedding photographer on Instagram, like a majority of people in this day and age do.
That didn't last long.
So, I do feel like if it's opinionated, though, you really can't speak negatively like that about people, right? Can you say terrible videos and if it's affecting their business? I mean, there's Google reviews.
I think you can, because people do it all the time on
Google
TikTok
review.
And stuff. They can try to shut you down, but I think if you have a bad experience, I think people know that social media is the way to get at people these days. It's where people conduct most of their business.
It's wild.
But if I have actually gone after a company before, and I did it on social media, so it is an excellent way to do it. So I don't think that's a thing. I think it's the whole free speech thing.
Fuck. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I wonder where the line is. Because there is that's why we do have slander.
Yeah. I think if you're saying stuff that is just you can prove that it's untrue and they're trying to take down your business or something. But if it's personal opinion, I think that's why a lot on YouTube people will be like, this is my personal opinion. This is not the truth. It's just for, allegedly, they love to say that. So this is our personal opinion.
Allegedly.
This is what happened.
Her feed looked so bright, airy, but also had this goldenness to it, and I loved that. But the goldenness that it had still captured the beauty of colors, blue, your skin tone, etc. You can see this is one of the photos from our welcome dinner party the night before our wedding, and it's a gorgeous photo, right? So this is when shit gets a little crazier.
She shot that too.
Yes.
She shot them the night before.
She had a whole, the wedding photographer was hired for the rehearsal, the wedding and the reception.
Yeah, because that photo looked amazing. It's great. So she can take a good photo.
So this is when shit gets a little crazier. Our wedding day was overcast. Nothing you can really do about that. However, photographers should know how to shoot in an overcast situation. So she delivered the photos. And of course, right away, I'm like, oh my God, I love them. I love every single one of them. I'm beaming of excitement. And then for about 30 days, I'm staring at the photos and I'm like, why is there something bothering me? I couldn't put my finger on it.
Okay, I'm gonna play both. I'm just gonna play it year by year, your step by step. When red flags happen or things that don't sit well with me happen. If I personally sent a client edits and their initial reaction was, I love these, they're amazing, beautiful, stunning, and then a whole month later you have some bad shit to say, I would be very confused. And I don't know, I don't think it takes that long if you really hate them. It's not you're looking at them for a month and they turn ugly. I don't know. That was weird to me. A whole month, that's a long time to sit on it, especially if you already told her I love them. You know, if you hated them, you should have said right away, I don't like it. And it probably wouldn't have been a very different situation.
I've had a client like that.
God.
There was like 2 weeks later, they're like, oh my God, I love them. They're like, actually, you know, I feel like my face looks fat in all these. And I was like, but you don't look fat. And it was like a total, like, they were obsessing about what their faces looked like. And I was like, but you don't. It wasn't anything about the photo, but I just have to, I'm always like client first. Okay. You know that. And I'm always like, fix.
We have very different, Alex is very, very good at client relations, which is probably why you're highly successful. I'm always like, I don't think that the customer is always right at all. I think that people take advantage of people in customer service or people in creative jobs all the time, not just photographers, but like hairstylists, restaurant people. I think that people love to take advantage, and I think it's important to set very strong boundaries.
So because of that, then I've had like the learning pivot, right? So like whenever there's something I'm like, oh crap, or like I've had one recently where I love when most of my clients, like they get to see their retouches and then they can make comments of like, you know, what to further retouch. But I've had a client recently where it's like, there's a lot of like extra retouching stuff where I'm like, it has to be like, you get 2 rounds of retouching and like, that's it. There's like no more, or you can, but there'll be a fee for that because it just becomes too much for me and my team. And, or I now have something in my contracts that you have a certain amount of time. Like you have a week to pick out your raws. Then the raws go to digital heaven. And then I hold on to the raws of your ones that you selected until they are retouched and finished. And then once that is done, then those raws go to digital heaven and you just have your retouched. Once they're retouched, you have 2 weeks, so it's 12 business days that I give, that if you change your mind that you don't like your images or you see something later on. So I don't close the job until it's done. But 30 days is fucking insane is my point.
Yeah, a whole month. I'm not saying that didn't happen for her. Like maybe 30 days later she looked at it and she was like, I actually hate this. But that's, I mean, I'm not like discrediting her story or anything like that, but like, you know, we're all having our own experience. But as like a professional standard, like that's crazy. And so
I feel like I've done that with hair. Like when I've been like, I want to go blonde and I'm at the salon, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is amazing. And then like, the more and more I look at it, because I'm looking in the mirror, I'm like, oh, I don't like this. This looks really bad.
Yeah, but that's probably like more that you didn't like it on yourself, not that your stylist did a bad job. You know what I mean? I think it's more like your own personal preference, but regardless, it's just a good lesson. Like I think people are very afraid to even say sometimes when they don't like something. You can't be like that. You need to speak up immediately if you don't like something. It's easier. Or it's like, it's just more professional, like, because then it's not a surprise. Because like if somebody I don't even remember, we were booked all the time, like week after week after week. I don't even remember what I did a month ago. Like if a client came out and was like, oh, I actually hate those, I'd be like, what? Like
especially wedding photographers, that's a whole nother beast.
Yeah, they charge that much. She mentioned that it was $8,000.
But it's 2 days.
It's so much work.
And it's 2 days.
So much work.
And that's not a lot. Like that's really
average.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
That's really reasonable.
It is.
Especially if it's like on location.
It is. Especially because she did everything, it seems like. She did all the parties and the rehearsal.
No, like people pay like 20, 30, 40.
Yeah. $8,000 is average nowadays, especially with inflation. Everything is up anyway. But yeah, don't wait 30 days. If you don't like it, you need to say it like right away as soon as we send you the proofs or the edits, not the proofs.
Until I realized I'm a makeup artist, okay? I was a makeup artist in the wedding industry for years. And I did my own makeup for my wedding. And I'm staring at the solo pictures of me. And I'm like, I kind of look really pale and my makeup isn't showing at all. Like my hair has these red highlights in it and I look extremely dull. So I raised my concerns to her and she goes, okay, I charge X, Y, and Z extra to edit photos. I'll edit them to like enhance your makeup and whatever. Great. So what I'm about to show you, the top photo she edited to enhance my makeup. The bottom photo was me in real life. That was my makeup shot on just an iPhone picture. What did she put on my lipstick? What blush am I wearing? Like what is on my eyes, my skin,
That's
everything.
editing.
Yeah, I mean.
Then I raised the concerns to her and she's so...
Okay, so it's so funny because I thought like when we talked about it initially, I was like, just re-edit. When I heard this originally, I thought it was just people talking about that she put on like an ugly warm filter on everything. And that was like, and I was like, cool, change the filter,
Scratch it out.
change the preset, like
End of day.
cool it down, whatever. But this is a lot more. Now I see why it's much more of a conversation. But like, I think this is also the importance about communication, because I think communication is not good here. Because she literally just said
she liked warmer.
Yeah, and she said,
like,
I'm a makeup artist. I look washed out. She basically said, can you re-edit them to like make me look like I have, because with wedding makeup, and she would know this if she's used to be a wedding makeup artist, when you're getting a lot of photos taken, you need a lot more makeup, a lot more bronzer, a lot more blush, a lot more lip color than you think you do in real life, because in photos it's going to wash out, especially if you're using flash or whatever. And she said, I needed you to edit to make it look like I'm not washed out anymore. You need to be very specific, because the photographer thought she wanted to add makeup. So that's what she's done. She's edited to make it look more, the makeup colors look brighter and more there, which is what you told her to do, right? Is that what you heard?
That's what I heard.
We obviously, every photographer, I'm sure this photographer, we want our clients to be so happy, right? That's like our whole purpose in life.
It's a bummer when they're like, I don't like the way I look. I'm like, fuck, well, like, this is all a waste then.
We literally aim to please. We want you to look beautiful. We want you to love them. But this is the second time now that she's come back and been like, actually, so like she re-edited them again. And we do charge re-edit fees. I charge a re-edit fee. You get one. If there's quick things that I can fix and you don't like XYZ, I'll go back and fix them. But if I'm going to spend another, because I've already spent days editing, if I'm going to spend another couple of days re-editing, I'm going to charge you. This is our time. Like, it's our time is money, and it's not, people think our job is done when we leave the shoot and it's just beginning. It's the most of the amount of time is spent editing. It takes forever.
I think too, like, I like when clients, I'm like, show me a picture, because it's just like, I don't know, I feel like in any like creative visual things, like the client will have an idea, and using the adjectives or verbs that they like, or think that they, what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And like some of them are spot on, and it's fine, the communication is fine, but I still ask for a picture. They're like, I want something like really clean. I'm like, okay. And like their version of like clean is not my version in my mind. So I think like having an image or a mood board for a wedding shoot, something that you can't redo, like I think mood boards are like essential. Or if it's for a brand, someone that's hiring you for like your client, it's like
color tones,
anything that you want. Or like, hey, I want my makeup to look like this in the pictures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or even like you were talking about your hairstylist before. Hairstylist, I always bring a photo, because it's like the game of telephone thing. A client could come in and say, I want red hair. Red hair could be very different for me and Alex. Red hair for me could be like bright blood red. For her, it could be auburn and like orangey. So like,
I did that so many times, to the point that I was dyeing my own hair, because I was like,
that's so important.
I want orange hair.
Yeah,
it wasn't red ever. It was always orange.
But it's a red tone. But like that's the drastic difference of like what your words can mean to people, because we all have different brains. We don't share a brain. So like this is a perfect example of that.
She so kindly said, you know what, I don't think we're going to come to an agreement, so let me send you some of the raws of that moment. So when she sent me the raws, I noticed something. This is the photo that she sent me that I look like I have a black eye in. And this was the raw that I edited to have a brighter, more natural feel. And also I went into my eyes to make them brighter. Then I noticed this photo. This is what she sent me, and this is how I edited it. Like, you could see the difference, right? Like everything. To me, this is a better edit. So that brought me to look in even further to every single photo and dissect everything. I then came to the conclusion that I need to reach out to her and tell her that some of the edits felt like they were a preset that was copy pasted, and I wasn't happy whatsoever.
Wait. Okay, wait. Okay, this is not my favorite preset or filter. Like, it's super, super warm. Going for like very stylized, so I can see what she's saying. Yeah, it's vintage. I don't hate it. I think it has like a time and a place for a wedding. Maybe it was a little too much, but this is a perfect example of she should have shown her photos that looked more like the left instead of saying warmer, because that is definitely what she got. Also, okay. I mean, I guess it depends on what you've worked out with your photographer or the package that you've bought. But if people are shooting a wedding, okay, so if we're shooting a branding shoot or headshots, you're getting what, 3 to 10 photos. We can definitely go in and retouch and like brighten the eyes and all of this stuff. It takes a lot more time to do that. But when we're working with like 10 photos, that's understandable. We can like smooth out, we can do all these stuff. When we have a wedding or wedding parties, the wedding weekends are hundreds of images. Usually
that
people are getting,
and we shoot thousands.
Yeah, thousands, dude. Thousands. We have to be down thousands. You'll probably end up getting like 150 to 300.
Not like all of them.
Yes, but you're not ever going to post
possible.
150 photos.
But it's not possible. It's not possible.
Right. But my point is that like even when I do event photography, because like wedding is just like a more fancy event photography basically, you're not going to get, unless you're paying way more than $8,000. Sorry, no one is going to be going in and doing special things to each individual 300 photos. It's just,
and we don't know either like how many she got. So like I can't understand too if like the client was like she paid for 50 images for $8,000, right? Then it's like fuck yeah, fucking retouch each one exactly the way I want it. But if it is like the batch of, we don't have all the information.
300 photos, and I don't know if she's going to give us that. But when she's saying like this looks like a preset, a lot of wedding photographers, sorry to break it to you, a lot of event photographers
they have to
using a preset, and they probably have multiple that are like wedding 1, wedding 2, wedding 3, and they've probably made those presets. It probably took them hours to create those presets ahead of time. They've probably done it themselves before, and it looked good on a wedding that they did before, or an event that I have a few for baby showers that I have made. They look great on baby showers. And so I save them. So in the future, it saves a little bit of time. So I'm not having to manually do it each time, because that's asinine. So I just don't, I'm like,
I just don't know enough yet. They're just 50 images, and I understand.
Yeah, sure.
But I also think that like that image, like it's not what was requested or why she hired her. If her images are all warm and golden, then the image on the right is warm and golden. The one on the left, they're cooler tones. Like everything's cooler about that. Like the greens are cooler. Like
it looks like there's no filter or no color grading on that image.
It's a raw, which is great. Like it's beautiful as it is. I mean, I would still probably add some warmth to it looking at it, but I don't know. If I was a photographer, I'd be like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, because you're saying one thing, she's doing it, and then you're saying, no, I don't mean that, I mean this. And it's just like, once you go back and forth with someone 3 times, like the photographer was totally in her right to be like, you know what, I don't think, and she did more than most people. She said, I don't think we're going to come to agreement. I'll give you the raw images, which most of us don't do at all. And so the fact that she's like, here, if you think you can do a better job, have at it. And she did. She like edited it herself, and she seems to like them better. But I don't even think, this does look plain to me. Like I would add something. It doesn't look like color graded. It looks just like a raw image.
Professional. I think the other one looks.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's too warm probably for a wedding, but I do think somewhere in the middle would have been like, I don't know.
I think it's also too I feel like I know when there's going to possibly be miscommunication. And I have had miscommunication. I think it's normal, like with any human interaction, but I do think that sending a proof before you fucking do all the photos and like, or your retoucher does all the fucking photos, like send a proof, like, hi, do you like this style of retouch on your face? What don't you like? What do you like?
Or this
cool
filter.
Sign off on this that you like this. Like we've discussed this, or it's in an email, it's on paper, it's not on the phone. Then I send it again and I'm like, how do you like this? And then they will say, I fucking love it. And I'll say, cool. And then I'll apply it to all of it. But I'll ask for one picture first. I always do that.
That's smart.
Oh, I just got so hot from that.
Right? Like the coloring, everything. To me, this is a better edit. So that brought me to look in even further to every single photo and dissect everything. I then came to the conclusion that I need to reach out to her and tell her that some of the edits felt like they were a preset that was copy-pasted and I wasn't happy whatsoever. Especially when I looked through further and noticed that the filter that she put made my teeth look yellow. Like, what is that? My teeth are white. What is that? One last photo example. This is the ocean. It looks like we got married in Seattle.
Well, it's overexposed.
What is that?
It's because it's
But
probably...
again, it's a beautiful photo, you know? I'm not discrediting her ability to capture a moment, because that she was really good at. But it was the post edit that I was unhappy about. If you want to hear what happened in the rest of the story, like for part 2.
As a photographer, if you get to the point where you are willingly sending raw photos to your clients, I know that that was that was the last thing that you could think of. You're like, I don't know what else to do. Let's just send the Ross. Can she even open these? I don't know. Well, let's find out. That's a last resort kind of move. Like there's nothing more that I can do. I tried everything that I possibly could.
Part 2 on my wedding photographer threatening to sue me for slander. Let's go. So I decided to call my photographer after I wasn't happy with all of the edits that were sent to me, especially because it looked lazy and it was just a copy paste preset on every single one of them.
I'm gonna pause quickly just to say that a lot of photographers
Thank
use
you, Jessica.
presets. And let me tell you why though, because we are batch processing hundreds of photos. Weddings will take thousands of pictures. So yes, sometimes a lot of photographers will add a preset that they use.
Oh, right.
Doesn't mean that
she's probably about to say this, but a preset, like I think it's not like the Instagram filters that you guys like, oh, they're just gonna pop that on there.
Make it.
It's a starting point. First of all, most of us make our own, or we use ones that are really good for specific things that we've bought. It's a starting point. You can't just put on the preset and then that's it, because it doesn't always look good. It doesn't look good full strength, and you need to tweak it. So it's not like this whole like, oh, you're copy and pasting these presets onto the photos, hundreds of photos. It still entails a lot of work. You have to go in after that and fix the preset, change things, tweak things. And that can be photo to photo, depending on the light, the exposure, if you went indoor, outdoor, the shading, shadows. So it's still a ton of work. Thank you. Right?
Boom.
mean that they're being lazy. That's just their workflow. Now, what I would say is don't just apply the preset and not adjust for each picture. Like, don't just add the preset and just export. And don't check the pictures. You want to make sure that the preset looks good with every photo. So yeah, you got to go in. At least for me, I'll go in and check every single photo. I'll add things if I see fit. I'll bring down highlights if I need to, bump up the shadows, add more saturation to certain pictures. Also, that just keeps our work consistent. That means that your photos will have the same color toning and again, will therefore just look more together.
I'm going to show you a little video on just the moment versus the photo, just so you see it further.
Man, you look so good.
Where's this
photo?
The photo. We look like we're in the Rainforest Cafe. What's in the moment?
Yeah.
It's not going to look like that.
But also, like,
It's
I don't
pretty.
do you think your fucking cell phone footage looks good? That's blowing my mind right now.
These are such pretty photos.
I know, and I honestly, I don't know. I don't like sepia, usually black and white. If it goes like too orange, I think that can go weird and cheap looking sometimes. But this is more like a warm, a little bit maybe a sepia color tone. I don't, whatever. I don't think it looks bad. I think it looks more like vintagey.
I think it looks like very Lux Beach.
Yeah, I don't think it looks bad. I don't think it looks as bad as she thinks it looks. And I definitely know it looks better than her cell phone video where it looks cloudy and overcast. Like, she's saying that her cloudy, overcast phone footage looks better than these bright light edited photos, which is wild. But this is just the difference. Like, they can see things. Like, I mean, I've had a client as well that thought the cell phone
I remember that
footage looked better. So, I mean, everyone's eye is different, but like, good God. Okay, I didn't see all of these images, so like, I didn't know. But like, she's literally saying that the cell phone footage is better.
Fucking Jesus, man.
Fucking hell.
So I text her, I said, hey, can you call me? She's like, I'm available at this time. We speak on the phone. I'm about crying on the phone at this point.
Why?
Saying, I'm so unhappy. I need to make my wedding album. Is there any way that I could look through all of the raw images and just pick out certain moments that I could then edit myself? I will sign any contract that you want, states that I won't share these photos. They're literally just for a photo album for my family and I, and for Michael and I. And I was practically like begging her and crying on the phone, just saying like, this is my wedding day. Like, this would mean so much to me just to be able to get all the raws and edit them myself. I'm not happy. I don't want you to lift another finger, nothing. I will do all the work for you. She's like, you decided that you hired me. You knew my editing style and everything before you hired me. Like, too bad, basically. So now I'm crying even further, and my husband gets on the phone. He's like, please, my wife is so unhappy right now. Like, this is our wedding day. You're holding the photos hostage from us, basically. Like, what are you gonna do with our wedding photos? We're not asking you to do any more work other than just hand them over and we'll sign whatever you want. We even offer to pay her $1,000. She then says it's gonna be $4,000 for all the raw images. Okay, I understand that.
That's insane.
Petty.
That's so petty. Just give her the images.
Literally. Okay, I think it was okay, so we don't give out, everyone knows by now, we don't give out raw images. We're going to do an episode of this. People need to know. People usually don't. But if at this point, obviously it's not going to happen. She's not going to be happy. She's like offering to like say, we'll sign a contract. We'll give you $1,000 to pay them.
That's perfect.
Fine. You know what I mean? It's not like branding shots that you're ever going to use. Give them their images. For them to pay you $1,000 for you to do nothing more is fine. I think at this point she's just being petty, the photographer.
Yeah.
And saying $4,000 for what, girl? Just to be petty. Petty university.
I think accepting $1,000 for the raws is insane too. Like I have a
just
client,
give them.
just give it to them. Like what? Honestly, at the end of the day, like if it's I understand when it's like a headshot thing or like a family photo shoot that's like not $8,000 or $10,000 or $15,000. If she's that unhappy and it's her, she's not going to repeat that day.
Yeah.
It's like, dudes.
Well, and it's not, because usually people, one thing is that like people get this confused a lot. Whoever is actually shooting your footage, your video, your photo, they own the rights to those photos. You do not. I don't care if it's your baby shower, if it's your wedding, she owns the rights. So technically she's 100% in her right to hold them. She owns them unless she signed a contract saying that it was yours. So I get why, like, you know, I would get it more if it was like a branding shoot or like a commercial or something like that where you'd buy the rights to it, right? That makes more sense.
Yeah.
For a wedding, who cares? But the fact that they were offering to even pay for them and she still doubled down and was like, no, $4,000, that was shitty. That's shitty. Come on, girl.
Just give them the fucking photos.
So petty.
I mean, I have a client that I absolutely adore and love, and I took photos of her for an engagement, and I was like, yes, you can have them, but if you retouch them,
Wow.
fuck.
Spam.
If you retouch them, you know, please send me what it looks like, A, and then B, like I don't want them to ever be released raw. And she signed it, and it was just kind of like, okay. And so she has them. She hasn't done anything with them. Like,
well, and they were offering to sign a contract saying that, you know.
And I didn't accept any money from her. She already paid me. She was great. She was sweet, and they were really badass raws. Like I would be okay if like someone found them and like Also too, it's always like learning and pivoting. I now always show proofs of like the original, like, and they pick them out.
Yeah.
So it's like that's already done. Like they've already seen them, they've picked them out. There's no issue of like that I picked out a bad image. You get to pick them out, and then usually like they love them and they pick out more than what they, you know, signed up for. I don't know.
Just give her the images.
Just give her the fucking images. It's one day, all your family's there. I kind of always think of like also like weddings are like pre-funeral, right? Like it kind of is, right? It's like one of the last times that you're gonna have everyone there that you love.
Right. Yeah. You have all your family photos.
Yeah, so it's an important fucking day.
Just give her the images.
Give her the fucking images.
Okay.
The people were intense about what they want.
Yeah.
Raws are never really given out for weddings and wedding photographers. But if I was a wedding photographer and my bride, the one day that she's meant to get married, the one day, and you're not going to make sure that she's happy, what photos aren't you happy with? Can we select 20 of them? Can we just give you the raws of 20 of them? It'll be $500. What I was willing to work on something like that with her, slams it down, tells me it's $4,000. Too bad, so sorry. You hired me. You knew what you were getting into. Well, no, I did not know that I was going to be working with someone that wouldn't make sure that the bride was happy at the end of the day, especially when they had to do no other work.
Photographer says that she's charging her $4,000 for raws. Now, this may seem like a crazy number to a lot of people, but again, she is right. Photographers do not give out their raw photos, and if they are going to give out their raw photos, they're probably going to charge you an insane amount of money, like $4,000. Wouldn't it be easier to just re-edit, put another preset, a natural
Literally,
preset over,
that.
and then
That
just
part.
make your client happy.
That part.
To me, that would have been much easier. And then your client would have actually been happy.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have to deal with all this. Work with your client. It's not, they're not your wedding pictures at the end of the day. You're not going to have to be looking at them. But again, colors and these tones don't always work with every type of lighting situation, with every type of photo shoot. One thing I think about is that this client says she waited 30 days. She loved the photos at first, but again, after 30 days, she looked at it and she was kind of like, you know, I'm not really sure about the coloring. They were just not agreeing on the type of toning for these photos. And so I think that is where there was just a miscommunication. I don't know if the photographer was just refusing to edit after that. Who knows? Unfortunately, just because presets look good on one set of photos doesn't mean that they will look good on another set of photos.
Yeah,
it could be the lighting. It could be the skin tone
That's
of
why
the
you have to
person that you're
adjust.
photographing. It could be the time of day that you're shooting. It could be the colors that the person is wearing. There are so many factors. So sticking to an editing style just for the sake of, oh, this is my style and I can't change it, is not a good enough reason for me. Even
Also,
though,
you knew you had
okay,
other
your
presets,
preset
girl.
looked good in the direct sunlight pictures.
You don't just have that one preset.
Maybe
Your
she
grandma
didn't though. Maybe
last
that's
week
why it was
doesn't
such a
mean
big
that they're gonna
deal.
look
Maybe
good
she
for this
didn't.
wedding photography.
I love
that
how we're
you
like
did.
this in this whole video. We're like,
With
fuck her.
diffused
Oh, I
lighting.
feel bad.
This question, because yes, raws are pricey and I totally understand that 100%. The only time that I asked for the raws was once this situation specifically happened that I'm going to go into, because you're saying it wouldn't be hard for her to go down and like cool down the tones. So all I wanted was
That's what we
to
said too.
make this look like more like me, you know. It was like, I don't really like
a
the
different
edit on it. Because I was a makeup artist for 10 years, this was
I will
important to me
say-
to have.
I will say this is like the importance what Jessica's saying is that like you have to adjust it per photo, because like on the ones where it's that she's further away and it's lighter and brighter, they look really good. When it's like the closer ones of like more portrait style of her, they do look, it's too dark and you lose her features and it kind of looks a little,
Yuck.
it doesn't look good. Yeah. And this is when adjusting comes. She obviously did just put on a preset and didn't adjust as much as she should have. So yeah, I agree with that.
I sometimes think when like stuff like this happens with photographers or like anyone, they like get too big for their britches. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, but I'm like,
You
girl,
know?
you want your like that's like a normal thing. Like, you know, you can't just like you can't slap it on there and be like, okay, done. Pay me $8,000. Like they're paying you to actually spend time on the pictures. So like I do agree with her that the ones of her face that are close up do not. It's
Look
not
good.
flattering.
No, it's too dark.
Like a solo bridal portrait.
God.
Fuck. That scared the fuck out of me. This looks too muddy. If she was gonna use that, she would need it.
Looks very 2008.
Yeah, it's bad.
Really showing. And so this was the photo, and I'm going to show you what the edit that I paid for. She then sent it back to me with enhanced makeup.
It looks like brighter.
You want to see what the actual picture looked like? Hold on. Okay, so I put them side by side. The picture that I'm going to show you below is just a screenshot from a video that my content creator took, so you could see what my makeup looked like.
She has a point. The top photo is after the photographer re-edited, and it just seems like she popped out her makeup more. She probably went into the color saturation luminance section and then went to red, bumped it. I hate that I know that, but I do.
This is the point, is that I think that the wording was wrong. She should have said, I don't like the preset you're using. And it probably would have been totally different. But I think she's just bad communication both ways.
But like, I don't know, like clients, they don't know that though. They don't know the
Like, do you
lingo.
think it is their job to be like, do you mean like clarify?
Yeah, like that's why I'm like, here's a picture. Send me I'm gonna give you a raw. You do one of how you like it, and
I
then
think it's the way
apply
she
it.
used it though, like the way she said it, saying like, I want my makeup I washed out or whatever. So she thinks that means punch up the makeup, when she really means that she doesn't like the preset. She doesn't like, you know, I don't know. I think that
But like if she
words
just sent
are
a
not-
picture,
if she would have
just
sent
sent
this
that
and
and be like,
hey,
I like this.
this is the color tone that I want.
It's all blue. It's not warm.
Yeah, it's not warm at all. I just think something got lost in the communication was not good.
Like I want to
Period.
ask the client, like, hey, did you send her pictures?
Yeah.
And that she still was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, if that happened and she's just like, no, I'm gonna leave this ugly yellow filter on it. I mean, that was shitty, but I don't know if that's what's happening. I think this is after the second or third like retry. So at this point, I think the photographer's just like getting frustrated.
Which I don't think that's cool though either. No.
I do. Because it takes a lot of time. So if we're going back and forth over and over, we obviously want to make you happy. I want to make you happy. Every time I'm editing or re-editing, that's a day that I'm spending working on this. So like if we can't come to, like, there is a point where you have to be like, stop, because if not, people will tweak things to death for forever.
Yeah.
I mean, my point is that time is money.
Yeah,
I
think for this particular situation though, it's not very good retouching.
No.
Like, but I do, when it's like really in different things, I get it. Like I did have a client, it was a male client like last year, and it was with the retouching, and I did send them screenshots of the raws, and until they saw the screenshots and compared to like what he looked like afterwards, because it was a lot of back and forth, and they're like, oh shit, like these are really good pictures, like you did a really good job. So sending the screenshots of the raws, like sometimes people don't know what they look like, or they don't remember like the setting or the lighting, or they have something in their mind of that moment, and it's like that's not what the moment looked like at all. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Especially if it's like in a house, or I don't know.
I think here they're both in the wrong.
It just sounds like not a good.
It's a nightmare.
Lipstick isn't that color or anything. So when I asked her to re-edit and I paid for it, that is what she brought me back. So that's when she gave me the raws. I think she gave me maybe like 10 raws of that specific like moment in time. And that's when I edited those on my own, which was so nice that she did that. I'm not discrediting that it wasn't nice that she did that. But then when I asked her for more raws, because I was like, I don't want you to do any more work. Clearly we're not getting to like a happy medium here, and you're not able to edit them how I want. So can I have all the raws? I even was gonna offer to pay her a little bit, you know? Like, this is what I looked like on my wedding day. I look like me.
Pretty.
That's beautiful.
Not like this warm sepia tone version of me. And the only good thing that I'll say that happened was when we went into the lobby, and it was after the ceremony, and she used direct flash. These are my favorite photos.
See that
those are
match?
beautiful.
That's what I'm telling you guys. Didn't I say before? Sometimes when you're using things like flash or you're shooting in certain situations, then the preset looks good only in certain situations. This is that certain situation.
Yeah, that looks
where she's
beautiful on
using
that.
flash. This is fine. The client seems happy with this. Now the preset does not work with the natural light photos. That's where we have
light.
the
This is
There
why
is
you
no sun.
cannot put a preset on everything. This is why you have to go in and adjust. And like what she said is people use that as well for events because they want it to be cohesive. You don't want to have 10 different filters and 10 different colors, and it's not going to look like the same day. It needs to look like a cohesive unit of photos. But you have to make sure it looks good on everything. So if it doesn't, you either need to choose another one, or there are some people that will do some in color, some in black and white, or do two different
Even black
color
and white,
tones.
you can't batch them out like that either, because like
Yeah,
the
you
tones
have to
would be-
adjust.
Yeah.
And that obviously did not happen here. And with the flash, they look beautiful.
It may look good for those pictures with the flash. It doesn't mean that it's gonna look good in natural light and
You're
bright
right with you with
sunlight.
the overcast.
Those tones are
Warm
may
tone
not
and
look
overcast
good
is
or
not
may not
good.
translate well. She said that the photographer threatened to sue her for slander. What is going on here? How did we go from I'll send you the raws to I'm going to take you to court?
Yeah,
She made
that's
another
crazy.
TikTok that says portraits I love from our welcome dinner versus portraits from our wedding that in my opinion isn't consistent. So she says that she likes these from her welcome dinner. I think they look great. Beautiful flash.
Beautiful.
Great lighting. Cute moments. Okay, and then it says versus the wedding day. I think this is gorgeous. I love the warm tones.
Yeah, I think
Just
it's pretty.
dial it down a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's what I said.
It would have been perfect. This one, I love this photo so much.
I do too.
Gorgeous. I really like
Yeah,
this
I don't
one
hate
actually.
the warm tone like ever.
Again,
on
just
some of
tone
them,
down a
it's not good,
little
but-
bit. I would have taken this down like
Notch.
20%.
Agreed.
Yes,
I
I,
would've
do
just
agree
toned it
that
down
it's
a little.
a little bit too yellow for me personally. This
Also,
one,
like,
same thing. Just
My question,
the-
that's
the-
beautiful. My question though is too, like the ones before, if she knew the client was really happy with the rehearsal day, why wouldn't she just use the same on the wedding day? Or unless she wanted, I guess she wanted to be different or wanted it to be different.
It looks the same to me. It just looks like the lighting's different. Like the preset looks the same to me. It just looks, oops, sorry. It looks like just like the lighting of the day is different.
The preset looks a lot cooler to me on the reception days or like the rehearsal days.
I think it wasn't overcast, she said.
Oh, yeah, but I don't know. I still think this is a lot more golden because even in the other ones, I think the other one is more of like almost like a teal orange filter or preset, and then this is more of like a golden hour kind of vibe, which she was probably trying to like counteract with the cloudiness. And like I mean, I agree. I don't think that they look bad at all. I would have dialed them down a little bit. I still think they look better than the cell phone footage, for fuck's sake, but that's just me.
The photos are beautiful.
They
The
are.
photographer did an incredible job. She clearly knows what she's doing. The editing, I would have just dialed it down a little bit. The colors almost wash this
That's
photo
ugly.
out. You can't see
That's bad.
her beautiful eye color. The white
Just a
wedding
bad
dress
picture.
no longer looks white.
This
It
is
looks
leaning on
yellow
like the
now.
cheap looking sepia, that part.
Sometimes there's things to consider, and I know we are photographers, we're artists, but we have to consider what our brides also want. And in our color toning and our editing, we have to watch out for that. Here's my advice for you photographers, okay? This is what I do. If a client is not happy with my toning, I will send natural colors. So that means straight out of camera colors, a little bit of saturation, a little bit of contrast, just minimal edits, a little bit of curves. That's it. I'll send them that. And then I'll send them another version. Maybe I'll add
what
a
I'm
little bit
saying.
more color. I'll add a little bit in there. And then I'll show them the two different versions.
Which one?
Again, one natural and one colored toning. And they can pick from those two, and they can tell me which direction they want me to go in with the color toning.
Right.
And that's happened
Visuals,
before,
again,
and it's
the
completely
visuals.
okay. People are visual.
She
They would
should have
rather
done
just
that.
see
I don't
how the
know
photos
why.
would turn out in certain types of colors. What I wouldn't do
proofs.
is re-edit the photos without confirming with them that it's gonna be
Yeah.
what they like,
Okay,
and then charging
that's
them
fair,
for
actually.
it. Because I
Kinda
think
wasted
she
your
said
That's
time
what
for
I'm
no
saying.
reason.
You send them
the
they know they're
photographer
gonna be-
charge them extra for the edits. If you're gonna charge a client, you have to make sure that they're gonna be
That's what
okay
I
with
said.
the
Yeah,
the
that's-
toning
yeah.
that they're paying
Fair.
for further.
So she kind of wasted her own time.
Second time. Not only is beneficial to the client, but it's beneficial to you as a photographer, so that you're not redoing work and you're not gonna have an unhappy client.
Yeah. Well, and actually, now that I say that, I do that too. I especially with video, like that one I was telling you with the cell phone footage thing. I was sending them clippets and then would adjust the color and send them another clippet and then like that until we found a place where we were both happy.
Yeah.
Because that's I would never. That's just dumb to like be like, oh, I think I know what you mean, and then re-edit however many images, and then be mad that you re-edited all those images and she's still not happy because you didn't check. Apparently, because I think if she would have been like, no, that's not what I meant. So now I'm like looking at it a little different. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I don't think that like it's like me thinking that I know everything about, I don't know, when I go to the doctor, like maybe I'll like research certain things or like medications or like, I don't know, this is just a fake situation, but like I'm not going to pretend to know about cardiovascular valves and all these things, and like I won't know the lingo to explain what's wrong,
This could have been so not
the doctor
complicated.
asked 2 questions.
Yeah. Well, also just to show a sample. Is this what you mean?
Yeah.
Before I do hundreds of images.
Do you feel like you
this?
can't catch your breath? Well, that probably might be this.
Yeah, like it should have just been, that would have been such an easy fix.
No,
and then
it's
she
just-
could have been like, no, I don't, that's not what I mean. And then adjust that,
Well, the client's not the photographer, like we are,
Yeah.
like you are. Like it's your job to. I think it's my job to explain what's happening. And if I don't, and I've learned this the hard way, and I don't do it anymore. But I learned the hard way that if I don't properly explain with each person, because everyone's different, how they're hearing information, that it doesn't go well. It's on me. At the end of the day, it's on me.
Yeah. Oh, I need a visual anyway. I'm like a visual person.
That's what we do.
Yeah. My brain works in visual, so.
Square, dog, kitten, 3, 5.
Like, don't just
Meerkat.
come up. Like, you can charge them for the. I'm not saying go work for free. You can charge them for the extra editing,
Of face.
but just make sure that you're both like
That's what I
moving
do.
forward. they're gonna be happy.
With my event photos, not like weddings, I don't do that. But if I do like a shower or like a birthday party or whatever, it's on there that you're buying it with just color toning. You're not buying any sort of retouching. It's just like you're getting a large amount of images with very, very little editing because it takes too long. And then if they want certain images heavily retouched, like if they see a photo of like them and their mom and they're like, oh my God, I love this photo, I want to frame it, and they want heavier retouching, they can add that, for extra.
Yeah.
Toning that you're gonna do. I'm all for being artistic. I love photographers with different styles and different editing techniques. But you have to understand at the end of the day, you're shooting for everyday people getting married. Sometimes they do want more simple stuff. They don't know how those colors would appear for like daytime photos because they're not photographers. They don't work in Lightroom, okay? They don't know how those colors would look like in different lighting situations like we do. Like we would know that, but maybe they don't. The comments are very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, let's read some of them. $4,000 for RAWs is reasonable. Okay, but also, you know what's reasonable? To do light editing for your clients. That to me is unreasonable. I'm sorry you're going through this. As a photographer, I see both sides. Unfortunately, you did choose her for her style. Different lighting has a huge role in how the photos turn out. As a wedding photographer, I would have offered a full re-edit.
Yeah, but okay, so yeah, we've talked about this before. When you are choosing a photographer, you're obviously hiring them because you like their style. However, if it is a paid client, if someone is paying you to do it, especially for like a wedding, something very, very personal, we are tailoring the experience for that client. This is not my portfolio creative work. It's not what I want to put in my portfolio and show. So it's not about me. That's crazy AF, right?
I am really leaning towards the client.
The client has some issues. We're not going to blindly sit. She obviously.
I think I kind of am.
I mean, that's fine, but she also there's mistakes on her part. You cannot wait 30 days and be like, I hate it when you already told me you liked it. However, they were paying for re-edits, but there just needed to be better communication. But at the end of the day, like if it's a client project, we are tailoring it to you. I can't just be like, nope, it's my style, my way. We are tailoring it to you. Now, if your way sucks and it looks terrible, I'll try to get you to a better place because I do care about my work. However, I'm not just going to double down and be like, nope, we're not doing anything to help, bridge that gap.
I'm like, I've tried my best and this is what I'll do.
Yeah, I think everybody would do that. That's crazy,
yeah,
especially if you are getting paid thousands of dollars. It's weird if the photographer really was like, this is my style. It's the only preset that I use.
I think that might be
put it on everything. Like, I don't know. That's like crazy.
It might be it though. That might be it.
We need to find this photographer's Instagram.
Do we know who it is?
I don't know. Maybe she said it. I mean, she's obviously outing her
because
so
she's going for slander.
We'll try to find it.
You for specific example images of the
God, I'd
colors
be
you were
mortified
wanting.
if I was a photographer doing this job.
She just made it so much more complicated.
After reading these comments, ensure my photographer contract ensures that I own the rights to my own wedding photos and are entitled to my RAWs. Okay, no photographer is going to have a contract like that or will agree to a contract like that. But how about this? Just pick a photographer where you don't have to do all this for.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to work with you and be reasonable. And then you don't have to worry about owning the rights. Make sure you pick a photographer that fits your personal interest in editing, not the other way around. Hope this helps. I just think that I think the tones, just change up your tones a little bit, or keep the same tones, keep the yellow tones, and just
adjust,
decrease the intensity of them.
Literally.
Like go from 100%, do 50.
This did not need to be this complicated.
It up a little.
This was wild.
We don't need to do all this. No. Why can't she have the raw images? It's her wedding photos. Okay, you guys, please don't go asking your wedding
Nobody's doing
photographers
that
for the raw photos.
I'm over here
I would
like,
absolutely not send raw photos to my wedding clients for any reason. Why not just remedy the situation so you don't have to?
So she just said she does not give her raws for any reason.
To get to that point.
Period.
Like, so you're willing to do all of this? Send raw photos, like go to court, whatever. She said that you were threatening to, there was threats to sue or something. You're willing to go through all of this instead of just
change the
re-editing
preset, girl.
like with natural colors. That's what I'm personally not understanding. And this is why it's important to choose a photographer whose editing style you actually like.
But she did like her style. Obviously,
instead
she chose
of
her for
just
that.
telling the photographer to lower the opacity 50%.
Literally, like this could have been so
What?
simple.
I don't know. Maybe, and this has 587 likes. Maybe I'm missing
But that's
something.
the thing too. It's like we've had moments where we bounce things off of each other. Like it makes me think like, where's her friend? I don't know. Maybe there's not a lot of photographer friends out there. I mean, I don't have any.
But yeah,
but like I'd be like, dude, what do you think I should do with this picture? And you'd be like, oh, maybe turn it down like this. I'm like, well, how? Or if I didn't know anything, I do have like 3 people, you included. It's like you, my cousin, and Alex that I'll ask.
Yeah.
If I'm like, I don't know how to make. What do they mean by this?
Yeah.
Especially in the past.
Or if I said like this is what I'm experiencing, how would you handle it? We do that too.
Yeah.
And we'll be like, oh, maybe you should call them and say this, or call, you know what I mean? Like there was a way. The photographer made this way too complicated. It did not need to be this, and it was. But I'm like,
where's
her own fault.
Where's her friend? Like,
literally,
it makes me think that there's someone in the back that's like, fucking sue him.
You know, she's surrounded by yes men. Apparently.
You know what I'm saying? Though?
But also, people are allowed to, if you do shitty customer service, people are allowed to say that. Period. Like I'm a huge advocate for free speech, and I honestly don't think we have enough of it, even in a country of free speech. Even if someone's opinion is very different from mine, I will still always stand by someone is allowed to voice their opinion or say whatever they're going to say. Obviously, if someone was like defaming their character and like trying to come after her as like a personal attack, that would be very different, and like trying to take down her company. But she was saying, my experience was bad because of this, this, and this. And she's totally in her right to do that.
I don't know everything that was said, so I will not comment on.
I mean, the client.
The client, yeah. I just don't know everything that was said.
Right.
So, like, I mean,
she did call
her lazy.
From what we saw on here, you are allowed to say whatever you want. But
I'm still pro-client. Like, I'm still, like, on the client side. But I don't know everything that she said.
I'm split. I think I am definitely not. At first, I was kind of like, okay, the photographer is not that bad. But as the story went on, I'm definitely not leaning towards the photographer. I think she made it way more complicated. And I think she made it way harder for herself and like created this when it could have been a lot more clean-cut communication like we've talked about. So I think she kind of created her own monster, so to speak. But the client did have some issues with her communication skills.
Yeah, but again, I don't think that I don't even know if she had the right words, right? Like, if you're not in the industry, like,
yeah.
I figured out right words to say. Like, instead of saying, you know, do you want your face to be smooth? Like, that's something that is like, well, duh. But now I say, do you want less or more texture?
Yeah.
Which like makes more sense. I'm like, oh, well, it's not really, I don't want to have my wrinkles. Like, I don't want to have that. I want to look flawless, but I don't want to look like I've been photoshopped. I want the texture of my skin, like my pores, and like I want
showing
that.
them examples again.
Yeah, less or more texture, more the certain words to use. Warmer or cooler.
Yeah.
What does warmer or cooler mean?
All of this could have been avoided if she would have done what she said and sent a example. Like, is this what you mean? And I'll re-edit all of them like this when she approved. Instead of doing it and still not doing what she asked for.
No, and I've had a client too, I forgot all about this. This is a while ago, and they're like one of my favorite clients ever. But it was a communication thing. Again, like years ago, it was a pivoting moment of like, oh, I should show them a visual, right? That I've shared screens and like on a Zoom call, and I'm like, this or this, this or this, this or this, like, do you like that or this with your face? Like, and it was just like more of a understanding of like what the client actually wanted. And that doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's just like, it's good to have, like, how am I going to handle this? So I have a happy client that is not going to be posting TikToks about their terrible experience. Hell no. I want everyone to be so happy.
Yeah. And it's honestly, I think she just created her own monster
and drama
for no reason.
No reason.
It was so like Jessica, the photographer that's commenting on this, like would have been so easily fixed. It did not have to be this, but now here we are.
Here we are.
The whole world is
We
commenting
still have
on
to
it.
become wedding photographers, though.
We're definitely not going to be like this.
No.
Me watching Sepia Gate go down as a photographer, knowing damn well the client is unfortunately in the wrong, but still empathizing with her because she's unhappy with her wedding photos, and that must suck. Yeah, but here's the thing: she paid $8,000 for those wedding
We're very.
photos.
It seems
So
like the world's
do you
very
guys think
split.
she has a little bit of like? Do I think she has a right to have a little bit of an
Yes.
opinion on how she gets her photos? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think
fucking
it's
That's
fair.
what but that's what I've
to
always said.
have an opinion on the service someone's
Pausing a bit. That's what I've always said. If a client is paying me, I'm doing my very best to make that client happy, and they're getting whatever they want within reason. You know what I mean? Like, I do know that they're paying me for my experience as well, so I will share my experience with them. But paid clients, you're getting what you are paying for. You're getting what you want. If it's my creative thing and it's my thing, I'm getting what I want. But if someone's paying you any amount of money, but especially thousands of dollars, you need to be trying to give them what they want. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I don't care if it's $150 or $10,000 for a gig. Like, I want to make sure you're fucking happy.
That's the
period.
whole point of client work. If you don't want that, then don't be in client work. Do it as a hobby.
Yes.
Then you can do whatever you want all the time.
You can just
providing
create
to you
trash.
that you're paying them for. I don't think it's like that's outlandish. Do you guys? The photographer is looking at it like, this is my aesthetic, this is my style, I edit all my pictures like this, it has to match. The bride is looking at the coloring and how it's washing out her makeup, her dress looks yellow, her teeth look yellow because of this coloring, and her eyes look sunken in and dark. Like, the photos look dark. That's what the bride is
And
looking
I'm
at because
sorry.
she's the bride.
Like, I am like, how selfish though is this photographer that like she's dampering the day that she got married?
But she's like, I'm sorry, it won't match my Instagram feed, so I can't edit it any different. Like, what are you talking
But that's,
about,
like,
girl?
so fucking selfish.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's fucked up. So it does sound like the photographer is like doubling down, like, this is my editing style, my like color tone, this is my whatever. But I'm like, then don't post them and do whatever she wants. You don't have to post them on your Instagram.
no, and it's not like, I mean, I think I've said like, no, I'm not going to do that because it's not my style. When someone wants to be like facially retouched to the extreme, like,
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you look like a robot. Like, you look like
Wow.
you've been face tuned. Like, I'm not going to do that. So the face tuned like level 7, you know, like, I'm
well,
not
that's
going
my
to do
point
that.
with like within reason.
Yeah,
That's within reason.
the colors though. It's like,
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you what to have, what if you don't want warm tones on your photos. Like, okay, girl, we'll do it cool.
Of course, I always
good learning
support
for us,
photographers,
too.
and I always
Our
want you to stay
future
true to
ventures.
who you are as a photographer, with your style, how you shoot. I would never be like, no, you should change everything that you do. But when you're shooting for wedding clients, it is a little bit different. You do have to cater more towards things that they like. Of course, they're booking you for your style. Absolutely. Absolutely. But you make sure that they know what your style is truly about. And again, sometimes our style doesn't fit with certain situations, and that's okay. We can make adjustments. It doesn't mean we're going to lose ourselves as photographers. It doesn't mean that our work is not going to be good enough, or that we are like sacrificing a part of ourselves. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that we will do what it takes to make our clients happy.
and then hold up. If this was all about her aesthetic, right? Like, that she wanted to keep that, she could have just saved her preset for those images for her own book, and then
100%.
also saved her pictures of how she wanted it. I've done that before. I'm like, oh, and then later on, like the post I just posted of the 2 girls, like how I made them like
Yep,
really like real
yep.
moody. That was for like a really like for almost stock photography things, and I was like, but they didn't want that. But I did though later, and I
Yeah.
changed it, but I didn't give them those images originally. Like, I saved my raw and I did them fun and how I wanted it later, and my client was okay with that. But
Dude, 100%. I just
you
had
could
a
do
client,
2 different things.
Yeah, and that's yes. Thank you for bringing that up. I just had a client as well that just happened with. I gave multiple different like styles or whatever. There was one that I liked because it had a funky, like weird, like artistic thing, like up ahead, like above, kind of like fading from white into like a kind of a textured look. And for me, it looked very like Vogue edit. Like the client was like, hey, I love these. On this one, can we change it to just all white?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Sure.
yeah, I liked it because it looked like kind of voguey. But if you're using it because she's using it for like press kits and stuff like that. So I'm like, of course. So what I did, I gave her the plain white versions, and I'm going to keep the stylistic version for myself. Problem solved. Like, like this shouldn't have been this hard.
For colors on it, and I'll make sure that my client is happy. That's what I would have done personally. You just have to be careful because, yeah, when you're doing wedding photography, it's not even so much about you as a photographer. It's just you're shooting for a client.
Yeah, it's
essentially,
not about you, girl.
want to make sure at the end of the day your clients are happy with the work.
Period.
I'm pro client still.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the only thing I will say, so the client waiting 30 days is not okay with me, especially if someone already told me you love them.
Welcome
You
back
can't
to the vendor table.
do not go back a month later and be like, actually, I hate them, period. You need to say something right away, in my opinion, because whatever. Also
in your contract that like I have like you have 2 weeks, like have a thought,
Yeah.
have a think. We might, and then you will get noticed like, hey, your whole job is going to be closed after this additional retouching will be this amount. Just communication is kindness.
But also
really
a lot
is.
of people don't hold on to their raws, especially for client like work like that. Once they know the client is happy, it takes up a lot of storage space to hold hundreds and hundreds of
It's just
raw
not a thing.
photos. A lot of people would like, I'm surprised that this photographer even had them. She probably has, good storage, but I'm like, a lot of people would have gotten rid of the raws because she thought, boom, the client's happy, I'm never going to use these again or like re-edit them. So she could have easily erased them. So I'm like, just tell it.
That's what we were saying earlier, though. That's what I was
Yeah.
saying. I was like, I tell them like, okay, after this period of time, though, your raws of the edited images
gone.
are also going to digital heaven.
Right.
Like I don't keep them.
So
I don't
that's
keep.
my
I don't
point,
have the
is
space.
that
And
you
I don't have
cannot
a
wait
Google
30
Center.
days. You cannot wait and I
A
don't.
Google Center.
I
don't know
usually
what that
keep
means.
my raws, but if I start running out of space or something like that, I'm going to clear some stuff out. And if someone's already told me I love them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that, no, I'm going to call a spade a spade. That was not okay. And then her just saying like things like she was lazy or that, she just slapped a preset when all photographers do that. We always start with presets. Usually no one is starting from scratch on everything. It's too much, especially with event photography. If you think that that's not happening, you don't know how it works. And but it's like, it's not, it doesn't mean that we're not doing work. It's definitely not laziness. It's like, so we can actually have a life, which we deserve.
Well, it's also too. It's just like it's a lot of time to like cull the photos and like there's just I don't know. There's like a lot of different steps. Like it's like getting your gear. Like before we even get there, we have to make sure our gear is ready. We pack our gear. We pack our cars. We pack all the things to make sure that there's like success. Like I don't like going on location. Like I don't. I like having all my stuff here. I feel like it's my canvas and it's like, I have more control over it. But there's a lot of time leading up to the shoot. Like I have a client coming up, 5 day. Like I like to look at images beforehand. Like even though she's just paying for the hour shoot, it's not the hour. So
Yeah.
I do background of like, I asked her what she wanted. I make sure if she's not comfortable on the camera that I have certain poses with her body shape that I can make sure that I can put her in for the hour. And then after that, then we take the images. Like I have to put them onto the computer. Then I have to cull the photos and edit, which means just cropping them and selecting the images. Then I load them onto it's like so many steps to take.
It's a lot of time. So there's no photographer that's being lazy.
No. Unless they just give you the SD card and here, knock
unless
yourself
you're getting
out.
like a load of JPEGs that are just unedited. But so I didn't like the way that she was saying that because it's not true or fair to say. Just because someone starts with a preset, everyone does. But everything else was definitely the photographer's fault. She made everything a lot harder than it needed to be. And if you are working in client work, you need to make your clients happy within reason. But I think that the client was being reasonable.
I think she's being reasonable too.
So that's our take on Sepia Gate.
Hell yeah.
And we would review one of them, but we reviewed the whole time. That was basically, it was like review. So I don't think we need to do that.
Okay, so
Secret word.
I have a secret word, and I think that one of the things should be that the secret word, you have to tell like when we say the secret word, so like the minute and second time at the bottom, and you have to DM like
Privately.
direct message,
On
not
Instagram.
comment. Please don't comment; it'll ruin the game. But The secret word.
Sepia hate.
Sepia hate.
Sepia hate
Sepia hate.
is the secret word this time. So do that and you'll get 10 extra entries into our giveaway. Privately DM us. Okay, we're running out of time. So
Goodbye.
bye.
Thanks.
We love you. We love our clients.
Bye.
And yeah, don't be an asshole if you're a photographer. Just
Just do
make your
it.
clients happy.
XOXO.
Gossip Girl.